All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu. You're just tuning into another episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. You can get this on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, Patreon as well too. With Patreon, there's like a lot of tiers in order to access like certain content and all that too. So whatever like money you put in, like any of the highest tiers, you're gonna get like the highest like forms of content. The basic tiers get you like the basic amount of content, like unreleased stuff and all that sort of stuff too. Like definitely like check that out too. And we're definitely gonna get it started right here. So a rapper and a producer slash rapper in the Toronto music scene have been making like a lot of waves in that sense too. They formed the now duo Playmakers, have set like a release called Shared Sentiments that's going to be coming up soon and all that. And they've had like a lot of like releases from the hip hop side, from the production side and all that too. Have done like a lot of like shows. You probably might have seen them at a Unity charity event or at a loop session for the most part too, like making loops and all that. So we have Withlovefromdeji and Pudgegawd in the building. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah. Doing pretty well, man. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. I mean, this is actually like our first official time like doing like an actual like podcast type thing and all that too. Because last year we did the interview at like Loud Army and all that too, and like that was for I think Cuba Romania, which is like pretty good and all that. And also like with Pudge, like we've interacted like a lot of times too, like at events and like even just like a couple months back and all that too, which got to know you like a little bit more with the content, with the music, and I've checked out the stuff too. We talked about the abstract song, which was like actually like on my loop for a bit too, like when I wrote it. So
thank you.
It's pretty dope, and like even with the other song too. So and even with the production, it's been crazy, So it's amazing to see,
Thank you. Yeah, it's that song in particular was weird because that's like, as I said, I made that beat back in 22. I didn't actually make that beat back in 22. It's like early 2023, but it was like a prediction of what my style is now before I really knew how to do it. And that's why I was so surprised that beat stuck. It was like the bottom of the pack. Producers always talk about like, why'd you choose this beat? I played you all this other stuff.
Yeah.
All this is crazy. Like, nah, let me get that last one.
Yeah, man.
It's like,
yeah.
Real shit.
And I think like the loop sessions and like even with the beat camps too, like I think it has like improved over time too. Like you're also doing a class with like RJ with like the whole like production stuff and all that too. So it'll be amazing to see. And like even when I was like listening to the song in the gym, there was like a line that said, back before I had an inner loop or like an interview and all that. So like that was something that we're manifesting like today and all that too. Like your first interview. So
true.
It's like amazing to see.
Yes, sir.
Fire.
Yeah, man. So I want to like get it like started for a bit too. So where'd you guys grow up, and like what were like the environments like for you, like for the both of you, like growing up?
Well, for me, like I moved around a lot as a kid. It's hard to like when you get that question, like where are you from? I'm just like, that's such a loaded question.
Everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Literally everywhere. Even my experience in Toronto has literally been everywhere except North York. I've lived everywhere like except North York. You know what I mean? So like with moving around a lot, like I was in very like affluent neighborhoods, which is very, very isolating. And, the home environment too was kind of trivial, that kind of stuff. But like, I'm thankful for it because it built a lot of character. And at the same time, I'm dealing with the implications of that as an adult and being like, holy crap, like who am I kind of thing. I'm thankful for art and all that to keep me grounded on all that. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that, really.
Yeah, no, that's facts, man. If you want to move your mic like a little bit like closer, just in case too, just to kind of get like on the pod feel. But nah, it's like pretty dope. And like I know we talked about it for a bit too with Pudge before like starting all the too. So I actually found out that Pudge is actually Irish, Romanian, Austrian, and Ukrainian.
True.
And
yeah.
Also like you're Nigerian as well too. Like
I'm just Nigerian.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So like, how do those like cultures like blend in like with the music and like just with like life growing up?
Well, it took me time to really understand that I grew up very African. You know what I mean? Like my household was very African. I just didn't understand that until I see how other people navigate life and how they were raised and stuff like that. And I guess like it overall the work ethic is there because I've seen my family just go through the craziest things to get it done. You know what I mean? So whereas like I look at my life now as like I have a very I won't say that my life is easy. I can't, but I can't say that my life is hard either, right? So the way I see it is like it's a blessing and to be able to do music. So it drives my work ethic to be like 10 times because I'm grateful for the opportunity to be doing that, So as far as how the culture affects, I would say that. In matters of like growing up and listening to music, it was mostly like, my dad would be playing like Fela Kuti and like other things like that. My mom would be playing Nigerian gospel music, but I gravitated towards like Will Smith, Michael Jackson, and yeah, I remember just sitting at the stereo, just like listening to that over and over again, like Blood on the Dance Floor, and a whole bunch of other like Will Smith records and shit. So, it's really weird to say that because like you know what I mean. It's like it's them, right? But I mean, growing older, I discovered like hip hop for myself and stuff like that, like with Wu-Tang, D Block, Eminem, and just going from there, really.
Okay, cool, man. And I mean, like even like growing up in Toronto for the both of you and all that, like, did you notice like the rise like in like music, like growing up in Toronto, like in terms of it becoming like an industry, like city for music, or just like within the communities that you kind of like grew up with?
I'll let Pudge take that one on because I didn't like grow up in Toronto.
I mean, being in Alexandra Park, I mean, I didn't get into making music until after I left. Like I grew up there from when I was born till when I was 16, and then right before the pandemic, I moved to the annex where I'm still at. But I mean, we listen to Casper, we listen to K Money, AP Baby, Mr. Comfortable as well. Somebody who's needs to come back because he's really, really talented. But yeah, a lot of there's a standard set for like solid independent rap out of Alexandra Park, but there's no and Bongo Baby as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nobody like there's no Drake, there's no Weeknd coming out of Alexandra Park, but where I'm trying to foster the next generation of that between me, Andy, a couple others.
Yeah,
sure.
No, that's facts, man.
POTD. Sorry, Payne, WWMS as well.
Yeah, that's facts, man. Yeah, I actually went to school in AP, Ryerson. So I was there like I think from 08 to like 2010 and all that too. So like if you like knew my age, like that's like probably like a good time and all that too. And then I went to like a lot of like I went to high school with like a lot of like AP mans and like some folks from like Region 2. So like that's like when like Casper and like I mean Mr. Comfortable, Vanelli Stacks like kind of like blew up from there too. There's like this like one OG rapper by like the name of Peter Mones and all that too, like Splix Black Your Burbs and all that. That was like actually like a crazy time back then. So when he talks about like AP and all that, it is like very interesting too because he was like kind of like the forefront within the music too. And then even within the whole like Drake and Weeknd connotation, we could talk about even Money Music, who is like helping like Casper, K Money, like all those like other artists too and all that. So I think that plays like in a factor where there is like that bridge between like the artists like from that realm and like the artists like even from like AP and all that, so
for sure.
Yeah, man. So like I know we talked about like your introductions to music like briefly and all that too, but
yeah,
like as far as like even within the hip hop and like even with like the other sound, like were there like some artists or genres you kind of like grew up like listening to get into that scene for a bit,
like how we got here kind of thing, or what do you mean?
Like in the question, like I worded it as like what were like some like what was like your first introductions to like music and like the artists and genres you kind of grew up like listening to? I know we talked about like briefly
a little bit,
too.
Yeah. So the biggest kind of transition for me was when I first heard Eminem. I was literally in the back of my mom's Pontiac's on fire when My Name Is dropped, and I was like, "You can do that with words? What? like literally, you know what I mean?" And It was the same time that I actually fell in love with hip hop. Like before that, I was listening to more punk rock and stuff like that, like Billy Talent, Green Day, what's that band? Good Charlotte, Simple Plan, even like Papa Roach, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park. Like I can go on, right? Yeah, and like it wasn't really until Eminem because before that it was like my brothers would be playing hip hop around me, and I really just did not mess with the stuff that they were playing. It was just too much Money, Cash, Hoes, that kind of stuff. So I was just like, this is empty. But yeah, when I heard Eminem, I started diving in a little bit more. And then that's when I had discovered the roots as well. Talib Kweli, Mos Def, And then, that kind of just spiraled into what, like, just where my general taste is now. And yeah, especially like another artist I got to mention is like Kid Cudi as high school. He really opened my mind back up to other genres in music in general. Because, you get into that hip hop head mode where you're just listening to hip hop only. And it's like kind of detrimental because there's so much out there and hip hop wouldn't be without other genres. So, Kid Cudi really like reset that for me. But my biggest influence as a human and as an artist is Lupe Fiasco for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's facts. Like those are like a great like multitude of artists to like even like tap in with, like listen to, and even the
Yeah.
catalog. It is like immaculate too. So it is like amazing to hear. And I know we talked about it like earlier, like in the past interview, like on how you got like into your start like in music too. But
Mhm.
as far as like even like with making music and like even taking that as a career, like
Yeah.
how'd you guys like get into that like in that sense?
So for me, it was like I would kind of like it was like my writing way back was I felt very what's the word, constricted by like instrumentals. So I would start shutting the beat off because the beat was distracting, and I would write. And then all of a sudden I just realized that like, okay, this is no way to make a rap song. What am I doing? Right. So I decided to just Google somehow, some way I segued into Googling what like Toronto Poetry Slam, just like literally just type that in, Toronto Poetry Slam, just to find spoken word poetry in Toronto. Lo and behold, I find Toronto Poetry Slam. You know what I mean? So I started doing open mics like that, and then like it kind of somehow, some way, I forget how, but I ended up doing just different open mics in the city, and then one flagship open mic back in the day was called Dead Poet that I would frequent, and yeah, like that was my start kind of thing, because it was also a blend of like a lot of hip hop artists that would come through and do their thing as well, R&B artists, soul artists, and it was just really like a grassroots kind of thing. And yeah, that just kind of cycled into finding Loud Army. Shout out Kamani, that really did kind of extend myself into art curation, which I was doing before with a collective that kind of disbanded. But just being like an understudy and really understanding how events work, how people work, how artists work and stuff like that. And when I was with Loud Army, I didn't even start out as an artist. Like I was literally helping them out, doing events and like being in the background and stuff, and still soaking up knowledge. But the thing about that is like once you're doing roles like that and you want to be an artist, it's gonna call you back into it. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
That's why you're so good at A&Ring.
Sorry?
That's why you're so good at A&Ring.
I mean, it's because, that goes back into like watching so much Breakfast Club interviews and stuff like that. Like I wanted to be, I studied journalism in college, bro. Like, I wanted to be you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like all that kind of
Lent to
stuff, like
Deji.
I'm so ready to do like press kits. I'm so ready to executive produce, like, just stuff like that. But yeah, now I'm rambling.
Yeah.
No, you're
But yeah,
good,
that was
you're
my
good.
start with that. And then like as it spiraled into like meeting up with Loud Army, and then Loud Army offering like the free studio sessions that they were. One of the first ones I met Pudge, I met Zell, and it was just like history from there kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, for like Loud Army too, for the most part too. Like I know, like they're great in like curating like artists for the most part too, even within like specific niches too. Like
Yeah.
I know, there's like this girl named I think Lacisha or something like that. That's like kind of like making like waves. Like I know, like her
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
have made like music and all that too. I know
Yeah.
they worked like a lot with like TJ Roots and like Youngstar Mills and like a
Mhm.
lot of like those are like other people too. So it is like interesting on how they're like curating like the sound like for the most part too, and like even like with K-Moto and all that, like they had like Esco like a while back, which it is amazing to see,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Shout out all those guys. Seriously. I really enjoy Esco's music as well. I don't think I told him that.
Yeah.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
As far as the production side, how'd you get into it?
I mean, I was rapping first, so that was me, Nikayla, who is now Payne WWMS, and Sailor. You did that. So they would be making beats, and there was a little studio at St. Albans Community Center, and we'd be engineered by this guy Joel, and basically it was just a program every Monday where they just had the studio run it out. So Sailor would load up a beat, and I would just write to it and rap on it, and it wasn't great, it was just me starting out. But once the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, I can't go to the studio. Let me see what I can do on GarageBand. And I was already figuring out stuff with like Soundtrap and all that. And at the time, I was listening to a lot of Pureborn, Playboy Cardi. So I had the trap side, but I was also huge on Griselda. So I was, yeah, I was trying to combine the two, where it's just like, okay, trap beats with samples, and then that led to me getting cool with Ghost by RJ later down the line, and like kind of the idea of having the boom bap production, and or have something jazzy and experimental but really make it thump. And I went from being a fan to a collaborator to him. He's like a mentor to me now. And what else? Get involved with fresh produce was kind of my first break into the underground community, because there was a remix contest with No Face Crew that I won, and that was like my first time getting into a space like that, and I was able to put faces to a lot of names that I only knew through like SoundCloud or Instagram or Bandcamp. And from there, ended up meeting Saint, ended up meeting this guy.
Yeah.
Worked on Matrix. That was another point where I got really comfy in the community. And yeah, it's, I'm able to be myself, and like really be able to bring a lot of really weird and experimental ideas to the table.
Yeah, that's
And yeah,
no, it's amazing to see. And like, I guess like with all of you guys, like, do you guys have like family that kind of like even made music, or like were you like the only ones that only like made like music like to start that lane and all that?
I mean, if I'm speaking honestly, my eldest brother was making music. I mean, yeah, he didn't have bars like that. He can, you know what I mean? You can hear that if all he wants. Like, he didn't have bars like that. But he did like the coolest thing was that he did have mixtapes being sold in convenience stores. That was like, wow, like we're there. You know what I mean? Like that was, because like back in the day it was like, all right, like whatever, that's weird. But you think about it now, nobody's even thinking about doing that, right? That was cool. But other than that, nobody. I think my dad wanted to secretly be a jazz musician, I think, but because he's just really obsessed. He was really obsessed with music, but hey, that's it. Yeah.
That's me with my mom and my grandma. My mom was actually a DJ at her university station. She hosted a jazz station. It's called Brown Midnight. And yeah, my grandma is a huge vinyl head, a lot of jazz. So I'd say, and my godfather as well, he's big on like new wave. He's big on blues. Who else? And then yeah, my dad, even though he wasn't always fully in my life, he is a jazz bassist, and he definitely has influence on me from the jazzier side, especially just seeing the dynamic of like the jam sessions that he would get into, or the gigs that he would get into, and just kind of just soaking that up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Yeah. Like it is like kind of like a unique blend if you have like ties with like family and all that who do make music and all that too. I feel like it could be like a mix between both, because like I know with artists like that don't have like any family that make music and all that too, like they have to like push as hard to kind of create like the best form and all that. And like with artists that do have like family members that do make music too, like I think they're more like advanced in like kind of like making music, like knowing, all right, this is like kind of simple, like pretty straightforward for the most part too, and like they just take that in. So it could be like a balance like between both and all that, so
yeah, I'm still pretty self-taught, because yeah, my family doesn't really have like the hip-hop background like that, but it's still, they still had a really big influence on me. Like there's stuff that like my mom will have on from time to time, and I'm like, hold on, let me Shazam that. Okay, what's this album? All right, I'm gonna add that to my rotation. I appreciate you. Boom, boom. So yeah, there's like there's even if it's not like a teaching moment always, it's still the influence is still there.
Yeah. That's facts.
That's for sure.
Like I actually know a guy who actually like Shazams like whenever we go out and all that too. Like because he also produces like makes beats. Shout out Saucy Bots beats and all that too. Like he like Josh who also creates like some good beats here and there too. Like I think he had like some on the Loud Army platform. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like Shazaming's like also like very good to finding like unique sound and all that too. So yeah, man. As far as like what inspired you to become artist? So like what inspired you to become artist and like even like take it seriously and all that?
I guess like, as of late, it's just like, why aren't you chasing your dreams? There's no reason to not. Just economic state of things, you might as well chase a dream. Like, you know what I mean? If you're crazy enough to have a dream, just do it. But back when like, because I've been writing like generally since the 5th grade creatively on my own without anybody telling me to do it, right? So it was like short stories and poems and stuff like that before I really knew what I was doing. It's hard to pinpoint like why or how at this point, but I mean at this very point, it's just like I do this because I need to.
Yep. I feel that.
I absolutely need to be doing this, or I'm going to be a very angry, upset, old, and bitter fucking type of person. Sorry for swearing, but that's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
It's cool. Same thing with me. The thing that made me want to get into performing and especially rapping, I saw Vince Staples open up for Gorillaz. I went through a huge Gorillaz phase in middle school.
Damn.
But seeing his just the energy was like, wait a minute, I could do that. And that's how I got into like, okay, how do I put a bar together? How do I structure a rhyme scheme? What do I want to talk about? And that just led to everything else. And at this point, same kind of thing. Music is, I've tried a lot of things, and music is really the only thing that I'm good at. So I'm sticking with it. And yeah, it makes me happy. It's therapeutic for sure. And yeah.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
Funny thing, when you talked about like Gorillaz too, like I remembered at I think BYW or something like that. It's like a store like at Eaton's where you could like buy like music and all that, or FYW. They had Demon Days for like $10 actually.
Dead ass?
Yeah.
I might have to get that.
Yeah, you can get like I think the physical copy for like $10. And I mean still like a good project, like feels good incorporated. Demon Days, like a lot of those tracks were like fire and all that too. And then they had the debut Gorillaz, so yeah.
Sorry.
I know we talked about like influences for the most part too. I think you guys like shed light on it like a little bit more. But as far as like who you want to like work with someday, like do you have like any in mind that you want to work with?
I kind of just put the pieces where they are and let things be. Like I don't have like I'd be lying if I said I didn't have like a list of people I want to work with. But lately I've been more focused on like, what's my relationship with that person? Is creativity going to be a result of that, or is it going to be something that is just a transactional interaction? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to hit somebody up for a verse and then never see them again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of my goal in this. So when it comes to collaborations, it's like it's not just about like who's in the room, but it's like, why are we doing this outside of monetary value? Like there has to be some sort of reason. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, that's what I got to say on that.
For me, it's, being on both the artist and the producer side. I feel like it's more producers who I'd want to collaborate with, and especially just to pick their brain, whether that be Madlib, Alchemist, Mike Dean, especially the way that Mike Dean's just able to like elevate certain songs. Who else?
I mean, if we're going that route,
yeah,
I'll let you finish, but I'm gonna say my piece.
in terms of one artist who I'd want to do like a whole album with, I listen to Boldy James a lot. And he's somebody who resonates with me really heavily. I think just especially because of his delivery and just the storytelling. It's just like, and like beat selection as well on most of his albums is incredible. And there's certain artists where it's an honor to produce for them because of their taste. Like if you're in their circle, that's crazy. Like somebody like obviously Griselda, like Conductor is crazy, Denny LaFleur is crazy, Don Carrera is crazy, Derringer is crazy.
Derringer's crazy.
You know what? Like I want it to be that type of thing where it's like I don't necessarily have somebody specific in mind, but like there's certain artists where it's like, and Freddie Gibbs too. If you're doing a tape with Freddie Gibbs, you're really good. Like you have to be at a certain level to do something like that.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
I do definitely see you like even with some like the OG like Toronto artists too. I mean like Socrates and all that. Like John Kumbongo, like who's like a young artist too, but like that would be like very dope. Like Felonious and all that. Like I know we were at the Felonious show some years like back and all that too, and I think also guys too. So yeah, I'd see you and him like working on some stuff and all that. It's like some of like the OG like Toronto artists too, like JD Era, AO Biggs and all that. Like even like Lord Fury's like camp and all that too, like Suprema, Gene like records and all that. Like that would be like very sick and all that too. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I got unreleased with a couple people you mentioned.
All right, that's facts.
Yeah,
go up to seeing the works and all that too. You know,
Exactly.
man.
That's fire.
As far as like the creative process go, like what's that like when making music, and like what would like a day in making music or like even being in the studio be like?
So me and Pudge, we have a really cool like I'm really proud of how our chemistry has built, because as much as we probably saw it coming, we never really planned for this to happen in such like a extended.
Kind of. Do you want to tell a story about how Shared Sentiments came together?
I will definitely tell the story of how Shared Sentiments came together. So basically, I invited Pudge to a workshop with one of my mentors, Donnie Milwaukee, who like, he's usually the stuff he's saying is over my head. I'm not gonna lie, but I try to soak up as much as I can and like, apply what he says, right? So I invited Pudge, and basically we kind of agreed after every session we're gonna try and make a track together. So day one, was it the first session that you came?
Yeah,
it was the first session you came.
And it was
right?
I think it was the wrong day. It was actually like the same day, but the next week.
Okay, true.
So we basically had the first floor of It's Okay to ourselves. So like, listen,
it was fire.
I got my laptop on me. Let's just cook up.
Literally, and I told him I got a sample playlist. Let's dive through it. I played one sample. That was the first sample that I played. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so. It was like first like 2 or 3, but it was okay. It was just like when I heard that, like
this guy almost shed a tear, yo. Like
gears turning.
I was like, okay, let's cook right now. So he's flipping the sample. I'm writing my verse, and then I'm like literally telling him how I want the drums to sound. He's doing exactly that as I'm writing. So as I'm writing. And then when we went to go record it, he obviously like wanted to write his verse like after making the beat.
Yeah.
While we were in the session recording, I was writing the hook. I don't know if you know that, but I was writing the hook while you were writing your verse. And just before that, shout out to Iago for this, because he introduced us. This is gonna blow your mind a little bit because I didn't tell you this. He introduced us to the law of least effort. Now, when you listen to the hook on Shared Sentiments, it was inspired by that. So I wrote that hook pretty quick.
Damn.
And then when we laced it down, it was just like, yo, we got a banger. Like what just happened?
Yeah.
Right? This man wanted to drop the song tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, let's see what we got here. Let's keep building. Maybe we could do like a little small 4-song project. Now we have almost double digits. I'm not gonna say what number we're at now, but it's like, exactly, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the growth has been phenomenal between the two of us. Our chemistry is like A1 since then. That was like Shared Sentiments is coming out. That's the first song we did
Yeah.
outside of the Matrix
Yeah.
album. Yeah.
And since then, I mean, the process has been pretty much the same, where either he'll send me something, he'll send me an album, he'll send me something from that playlist, or he'll send me like one specific song. And I'll cook up with it, and then it's like, yo, this is like one of the best beats I've ever made. Keep sending stuff.
Yeah.
And just his ear for samples and like finding really obscure stuff, which I pride myself on, and he's even better at it than I am.
I dive
which
in.
is crazy.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It's intense.
So it's a very interactive process where it's like he's telling me what he wants before I even lay drums down, and it's just, and at this point it's like he like, I trust his ear enough, and he trusts my ear enough when it comes to programming. And then in terms of like pen game, like we say this all the time. This man made me step up so much. Like
Mm-hmm. And you have, brother.
I think I'm decent. I think I'm nice, but it's just like,
yeah.
If I get on a track with him and I'm not A1, I'm going to get washed. Like that's the mentality where it's like I have to go crazy every single time I get on a song with him.
Yeah.
So
I love that. And that's the kind of thing that I really respect, because it makes me step up as well, right? Because he's challenging the best parts of me.
Mm.
So it's like, if I find that like I'm slacking or being lazy on a verse, and then he lays his verse down, and I'm just like, yo, he just reminds me who I am. That like, yo, I'm doing this because of you. And it's like, damn, I gotta rewrite now. Like, I've rewritten 2 verses, I think.
Yeah.
Because Pudge's verse was just like, yo, what? You know what I mean? And if he's crediting me just off of my presence, right? So it's like, yeah, like it adds juice into my battery for that. Yeah, and the whole thing of me working with Pudge is actually to scale back on lyricism and focus on the other elements in music, and make sure that, like, you know, I'm adding to what Pudge is dishing out. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we make the canvas together most for the most part, right? Some of it is just him. Some of it is more so him. Some of it is both of us. But when it comes to that, it's like I'm looking at my vocals as the last piece to the puzzle that we put together. So in that range, it's like I'm not dumbing down or anything like that. I'm just kind of like, my focus is outside of the lyricism, but it's still there. Yeah. And that's another thing about Pudge's presence, where it's like, he's a producer, and he's a producer. He's not just dishing out beats and sending them. He's coming to the session. He's coaching me on this shit too, right? Yeah, so exactly. It's like, deliveries have been different, flows have been different, you know, bars is still A1, you know me. I'm just really proud of this project, proud of our chemistry, proud of our growth as individuals, as collaborators, and, you know, even the business side is looking good too. Like, we're doing this. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's facts. It's kind of like that whole like feeling between like Larry June and like Alchemist, because I know Alchemist like also like raps and like on certain songs too. So he'll like put his like 10 cents in and all that, and like it kind of has like that whole like competitive style with like Jada and like Styles and all that too. Because as a duo, like they're inseparable and all that. Like when it comes to stuff and all that too. But it is like kind of like the rapper producer / rapper like style and all that too, which is amazing to see, you know. So
yeah, it's funny you say that, because we have that like kind of Neptune's feel to it, but at the same time, like you mentioned, like Jadakiss and Styles P, it's like, yeah, we're nobody's trying to have the worst verse on the track. You know what I mean? We're going at each other's necks for sure. Exactly. You know what I mean? With love, of course, but, you know, pun intended.
Okay, so like I know it's like dropping like next Friday too. So like, what can people like expect for that song and all that? You know,
bars,
anthem.
Stadium status,
triple platinum, quadruple platinum.
It's 2019 again, baby. It's just different, man. It's, you know what I mean? That's what it is. Championship year.
This is like,
Raptors ain't made the playoffs, but we did.
Exactly. This the first time I feel like this is the closest I've ever felt to like I've made a hit.
Okay.
Because like everything I do feels more like, okay, this is an album cut. This is me just going out, just barring up, just, you know, or you know, laying out my emotional state. But it's like, this is the first time that I've made something that is like, yo, I want you to take this and turn it up. It smacks. And it's still us.
Yeah,
It's still weird. It's still yeah. There's these big drumless portions. It's like there's these crazy like drum fills that you don't usually hear on hip hop songs. But it's like it's still fun.
Yeah.
And it's like
a lot of fun putting it together.
Yeah, that's kind of the aim that we're going for on this project, because it's like it's I think we both, and especially with Keep Yo Manic, like we both came out of heavy emotional states, I think at the end of last year, and we wanted something different, and I feel like Shared Sentiments is the best representation of that. And but at the same time, Deji also helped me tap into my more vulnerable side as well. And there are portions of that on our project, but I feel like that really, really shines on I have a little solo 4-pack that I'm trying to get out within the next couple months. And without Keep Yo Manic, I don't think that would have come out the way that it did.
That's crazy.
I've told you that. Don't
you didn't say it like that, fam. You didn't say it like that.
But yeah, the idea of like, you know, people aren't expecting like a lifestyle album from Deji, and it's like it's summer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we wanna be us, but we also want to show that we can be us and still have fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. And I mean, it led to like Playmakers and all that too. So like, what made you decide that name on like Playmakers and all that?
So it basically, a lot of the stuff was my idea, just because like I look at myself as an artist as like, you know, I don't have a brand yet. You know what I mean? And I look at Pudge and I see even just little tidbits of his brand, and I'm like, there's so much we could do. You know what I mean? So it was just like me being creative, just creatively looking at his whole world. You know what I mean? All the sports imagery, his beat tag, what a play by Pudge, all that kind of stuff. I just took that and just kind of like dove in and expanded that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we made it more of a sports themed album. Excuse me. Also, the Playmakers title, like it comes from his beat tag.
Yeah.
But as I'm doing my Googles and my research, I found I wish I found the show first and I was able to say this.
Yeah.
But I found a TV show that was actually a canceled ESPN TV show called Playmakers. Yeah. That was about just how football players in America get treated, you know, as if they're above the law and stuff like that, which is probably why I got canceled, because like, you know, to think of like Winning Time, the Lakers and the NBA had that canceled because they were showing too much. So imagine that they canceled because they're showing too much. And like I feel like the more egotistic side of being an artist, because if you're an artist, don't act like you don't have an ego. Like you're not doing this to be humble. So stop it. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. So we just kind of took that kind of ego and put that in our album, and that's how kind of I tied it back to Playmakers, of just being like, you know, we're the shit whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're walking through the high school hallways and we're taking up space. Like, move.
That's
slow motion.
Yeah. 100%. And like, I mean, the stage names are actually like very like interesting too, like With Love from Deji, Pudgegawd, and all that too. And I think it is like kind of like self-explanatory, like in certain parts too. But how did you guys like get those like names by any chance?
Mine is less interesting, so I'll say mine first.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, like I was kind of like cycling through rap names since like I was in high school, and I figured like I don't want to be called anything other than Deji, but Deji is still like there are like, you may not know it, but there's a lot of rappers that just named Deji.
Yeah.
So, With Love from Deji comes from me humbling myself and knowing that like poetry and spoken word poetry has been a big part of my development no matter what. And, you know, stretching that forward is like, I feel like every time I write a verse or every time I reflect on something in life, whether it was like a good or bad, a trivial moment or a moment of celebration, if I'm reflecting on it and I'm able to make this piece of art, it's like a love letter. So it's like with love from Deji, and like, you know, love in itself isn't just exclusive to like a romantic love. It's like, you know, love for my family, love for the world, love for my friends, love for the music homies, love for myself, love for music in general. You know what I mean? So it's like a more infinite concept with that. And I just try to give that back.
And you said it wasn't interesting.
It's not interesting.
Stop.
Secular.
For me, I used to go by T dot and then T dot wave, and it's just like I could do better. And I feel like once I dropped out of George Brown, this would have been I only took one semester over there doing child and youth care, and it was basically just like I didn't have any time for music, and I felt like shit. Like I didn't feel like myself. So it's like I feel like I needed a reset.
F those kids.
And hey.
No, I'm kidding.
Yo.
I'm kidding.
And there's like baseball is like my first love. I feel like that's why it's such a big part of my branding. And like it gave me. I was a really stressed out kid. Like I used to get bullied a lot. So like baseball gave me an outlet where I can just be myself. And so as time has gone on, and, you know, once I realized that I wasn't going to be a major leaguer, that became hip hop. And so there's two different Hall of Fame catchers named Pudge. That's first was Carlton Fisk, and the second was Ivan Rodriguez. And I feel like with me, it's just like history repeating itself.
Yeah.
And the idea, you know, the similarities between the relationship between pitcher, catcher, artist, producer.
I didn't even book that.
Yeah,
This is fire.
You know, the idea of like being able to call a game, being able to, you know, see the field, frame, all that.
That's kind of why I chose 2 point guards on the shirt.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, man. We're more. You see, like we're more in sync than it even looks. Yo, like
we're in sync to the point that we don't even catch certain things.
Yeah.
Like this the bars within the bars, the syllables within the syllables within the.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
No, it's true.
But yeah,
the other day, shared sentiments, collective conscious. I'm just saying.
True.
Just saying.
True.
Go on.
True. And then okay, lastly, the main thing is the idea of reminding me that I have control over my work ethic. And it's like, I love baseball, but I failed in it because I didn't work hard enough. And so I can't make that same mistake with music. So it's like, by naming myself Pudge, it's like, I'm going to be a Hall of Famer in this no matter what game I play.
Hey.
So, and then God is like, I just threw that on the end just for fun, yeah. But that mostly comes from Dump God Collective. So Makami, Fahim, Droog, like that's why I chose the spelling. So it's like very, it's like it's egotistical, but it's also very rooted in the underground.
Yeah. Facts. And I mean, we had this like crazy conversation, I think back in like February, where me, you, Deji, and Moreno were like in the car, and like, you know, we were like actually talking about this. Like we were like literally like on Bloor West, like heading east to Dufferin and all that too, like after the content thing, and like we talked about the tag and all that too. But like even for like people who aren't like listening and all that too, like describe like more about that tag, you know, what a play by Pudge and all that, and like how that tag was like made at that time.
I literally just went through Ivan Rodriguez highlights because, you know, he's more recent. There's more to choose from, and I heard it. The what a play by Pudge and Right on Target. Pudge has done it again from the same video, and I'm like, it's over. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? You can't find that video anymore. That the little highlight reel is gone. So I have the exclusive. And then I'm skinny as hell trying to get a little Pudge. That's from Lucky on Safe Place podcast, talking about how Gucci Mane inspired him to get fat, because it's like back in the day it's like a status symbol.
Yeah.
So it's like I was skinny as hell trying to get a little Pudge, and it's like I love Lucky too. So it's like having that as like one of my tags is like, that is perfect.
That's
I
so
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's become, I think especially being around Sayla so much, like Sayla literally rebranded himself to Sayla, you did that. And I'm like, okay, and like a lot of my favorite producers, whether it be Pureborn, Metro, Conductor, is like that tag is branding. And then when I started using it, in my ad libs, the what a play, that was like, okay, I stamped that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's facts. No, because I know with Lucky, like before, like he actually used to do like alternative like rap and all that too, with alternative trap. I think even like his stuff like back in like 2012, 2013 and all that, and like even his stuff with like Mick Jenkins too, like then it transitioned onto like the trap stuff too and all that too. So it is like amazing to see like how like trap and like, like the boom bap can like kind of like change like over time and all that too. So
Yeah, I still am in the trap lane. It's a little bit off to the side now because of how invested I am in boom bap and modern boom bap. But yeah, I'm still very, very inspired by like trap artists who take elements of like, sampling techniques, whether that be Lucky, Lilo, Tony Snow, Concrete Boys. Their last album was crazy. I love the beats on there. So it's like the blend of those two sounds is still like one of my favorite things to do still.
That's facts, man. And you have a actually great like catalog with like artists that you've worked with, like Andy, K.O. Strad and all that, Sisha, Nathan Baya, Saint, Cube, like Wheel Studios. So how did those like come about and like your experience like working with them?
I mean, a lot of those were through Wheel It. Shout out Civilian, shout out Rue. That's how I got to know Sisha. That's how I got to know Baya, Esco, all those guys. And even though I have taken a step back from the program just because with being a university, I got a lot busier, that gave me a lot of my first experiences with like being able to branch out, being able to like be on a Zoom call and like, okay, what do you want? In terms of sonics, what BPM, what style, who are you influenced by, how are you feeling right now? And that gave me the blueprint to my process now, where I can, walk into basically any room and be like, okay, what do you need? Let me provide that. And then Andy is like day one homie who I reconnected with later on. He found out I was making beats. I found out he was, was doing spoken word poetry, but trying to rap. And that project took about a year and a half, 2 years to put together. That's me alongside Sayla, but that was a huge growth period for me. And I'm really excited to be involved with what he's doing next. Like the stuff between we have a short LP together, and then I have a project that I'm co-executively producing again with Sayla. Bro, Andy is ridiculous. Like he's like another mirror image of me. The fact that we're from the same neighborhood and then moved to the annex, and he's more involved in the community than I am. So like his political stuff is like firsthand, and it's really, really impressive. Even though, he's not a big artist, and he hasn't, he's only done that album and a couple singles. The impact that he's been able to have in Alexandria Park is really profound, and I'm really excited to see what he does next. And then Saint, Collective Conscious, me, New Sun, Deji, we're doing Matrix again this year. Like in terms of the underground, those guys keep me on my toes, because it's like New Sun is always challenging me as a producer. Me and Saint, I love going bar for bar with him. Same thing with this guy. Obviously, we're doing a whole tape together now. And just, Saint opened a lot of doors for me. And then
likewise.
Yeah. And then once me and New Sun both go to TMU Pro Music, And the fact that me and him are like in such close proximity to each other is like, I can just go up to him when he's in class and be like, "Hey, what you making? Run me the headphones. I'll blah, blah." It's like, oh, that's crazy. The drum bounce, blah, blah. Oh, you played all the keys on here? What? How did you even? So it's like, every new technique that he gets, I added to. It's like Kirby. It's like I added to my arsenal, and we just been making each other better. And then Tiago as like a visionary between like.
He's a Renaissance artist, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy with that guy.
The photography, the curation, the clothing design. He even helped me. We're putting together a concept for clothing brand too right now, which is like, I'm really excited about that too. Yeah. But the main thing is, after Matrix, we started talking about doing Philosopher's Stone 2. So, that's originally Saint and New Sun as a duo. And then I was like, let's just do this with the three of us. And the first one was like 4 tracks long, and the 2 is going to be double digits.
Okay.
And I'm very excited. We're still finishing up the creative components of that.
I'm really excited for that project.
Yeah,
like,
he's on it too, by the way, and he bodied that. But
if you guys end up taking it,
no, we will.
Yeah,
we will.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right.
And just being able to have this space where it's just like I can fully be myself, and I have people around me who are challenging me and making me better, both as a lyricist and as a producer, because if I'm not playing my best beats, it's not going to get used. And if I'm not laying down my best verses, it's going to be taken off the song.
Yeah.
Because we only have so much space on a 2-minute, 3-minute song. So it's just, it's fun and it's competitive and it's making me more confident.
It's crazy. Like I have access to the folder of unreleased stuff that's supposed to be on that album, and I'm just like, yo, you guys are. He's like, yo, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I go like this about it because I'm not involved, right? I just want to like just contribute, but I'm like, yo, you guys got something. Like, it's crazy with that. Yeah.
Best part is like to not like leak it either way too, because I mean with the Toronto trap stuff, like those get like leaked on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like, the underground shit, like maybe not as much, like maybe for like Earl or Freddie and all that too. But like it is good, like, you know, to keep the songs in the vault and like not get that shit like leaked.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like I'm as we're working on Playmakers was supposed to be like a small EP that I was supposed to work on just because I got bored with my solo project. And as I'm getting back into my solo project, just got excited for it again. And now I'm excited about these 2 long projects that I'm working on. And then as I'm just sitting on it, I'm also working on like a 4-song EP for myself that I got the goal of just mixing it myself just to prove that, you know, I prove to myself that I can fucking do it rather than just talking about mixing myself. And then, my solo album, My Beautiful Ugly, that's gonna hopefully come out sometime in February. A lot, like, I don't really want to talk much about that album, but the fact that like I'm in the same rooms as Pudge like a lot, to a point where it's like too much to not ask him. You know what I mean? So it's to a point where like he actually did like 40% of the solo album too. But it's an entirely different sound. It is an entirely different level of collaboration,
all
the
that,
feeling, all that. Yeah. And like, I'm just proud that like, you know, my neurodivergent brain found its twin. You know what I mean? So like we can go into all these different directions and have it make sense as a reflection of our collaboration, our relationship growing together. So, yeah, man, I'm just really excited for the music we're making. Even like with Matrix, it's like the concept is that we start in May. And I'm just like, yo, when May comes in, if it ain't Matrix, don't say shit. Like, I'm not about it. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, you guys were like at the like last Rise 2 and all that too. So like the networking, it'll be like lit either way, you know? So
yeah, I actually met Thelonious there.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
To even like dive deep onto like Toronto right now, like we're both like all from Toronto, like in a way, in that sense too. So how do you guys feel about the scene right now at the moment? Do you feel like there should be some changes on the direction of where the scene should go to, or do you feel like it's fine the way it is?
I definitely don't think it's fine the way it is. It's not the artist's fault though. You know what I mean? It's not our fault. it's a lot of things need to be different in our infrastructure and things like that, especially since we're kind of fighting for our lives, competing with all the other metropolitan cities that are so far away from us. You know what I mean? So that really does affect things. I think there's still a level of illicit gatekeeping that I don't agree with.
True.
You know, people's intentions is what matters, right? And that and even like back in the day, like the idea of a gatekeeper was to make sure that quality gets through. But now it's just like what's going to get people's attention, and that just kind of annoys me a little bit because people don't know what they want until they see it. And if you're not allowing them to see something authentic and genuine, what's the point of you even being in the position you're in? Exactly. But outside of that, I think like, you know, the circles I'm in, the scenes that I'm seeing, I'm impressed almost like every day. Like I look up to a lot of artists that are like younger than me even, and I'm like, yo, we got to be that unstoppable force that like they pay attention to us because they have no choice.
Yep.
You know, and that's the underdog mentality that we have to come to. It's sad to say, but like, you know, we might have to bring back that screw face mentality, or like
the crab in the bucket, like feeling all that too. Yeah, and I know.
You know, it's like, yo, stop messing around. These are like, we're artists, we're human beings, we're trying to do this. It's as much as it might feel secular, it's like there's a lot riding on this city, and like our art scene does reflect a lot of quality in just the developing artists. So we need bigger eyes on that. We need the right eyes on that. And either way, I feel like we're not going to stop. So, you know, it's the stuff outside of artistry that needs to step up to our plate.
Yeah, that's
for sure. For me, I mean, same thing. Like I've been able to see the growth of the underground firsthand. And I feel like between everybody in Baker's Club and Ghost Town, and then guys like Thelonious, guys like Kabongo, there's definitely a shift. Toby as well. Yeah. There's a tangible feeling of like everybody's kind of on the same page right now. Everybody's trying to do is on the verge of either they just dropped their best project or they're working on it. And I feel like there's definitely more, not as much eyes as we need, but there's definitely more of an open mind right now for the weirder, more lyrical, more jazzy, more soulful stuff right now.
Yeah.
Because we've been putting our foot down and being like, we need to make our best stuff right now so we can be seen.
And look at the economic state of things, man. Like, I'm not trying to make no mainstream music for who. We're all going through some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a crazy time right now, and artists need to reflect that, not keep trying to get into the club or keep trying to get into the radio. It's like,
or like dressing for the gal or for the mandem and all that too. No,
I mean, like we need good times as well, right? We need to reflect on that too, but it's and fun music for sure. Yeah. But you know, stop trying to.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're doing this for clicks and reels, it's not real.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pun intended. It's just not like, you know. So that's
people.
What I mean.
People see through that, and that's reflected in longevity.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Like I've had my fair share, like when I spoke about it, like on Freds too, on how the Toronto Canadian like mainstream music scene is like on some ground creeper type thing, on some gatekeeper type thing. My bad on that. But I mean, well, we should need to gatekeep a little bit more. I mean, the on the radar thing too, like that's just kind of like my opinion too, because I know nowadays too with that platform, like everyone and like their auntie, grandma, whatever, like are on that platform too, and like I think I could like say so much about Toronto too, but like there's like other like places like around the world too, like New York on the radar, where I feel like there is like stuff that you do need to gatekeep and like realize like the value too, because
exactly, I agree.
There's like some people that have said some crazy things on there where I think the producer who did the or not or what song said like some stuff like with samples and all that too, which is fucking retarded. So yeah.
Damn.
Said some stuff.
Yeah.
Boy, was he like anti-sampling or something like that?
Like anti-sampling. No, I'm not gonna put like samples on there. I'm not gonna do that. Or like it was like something like I think about like soul music or something like that too. Like I know
what you're talking about. Where he was just like, no one's trying to hear soul music in like 2025. I'm like, what? Huh?
And it's a white man that said this in a majority black platform
Come
and all
on,
that. You know,
man.
so it's crazy, man.
I mean, I got nothing to say on that, man. Like what?
And I mean the performance stuff too and all that. Like I know like it doesn't have to be just Toronto or like anywhere around the world because everyone's gonna say the same thing in the whole aspects. We could like look at the media platforms where they have like all these like performance like freestyles, even though it's not like an actual like freestyle. It's a song to PR for their label or for their team and all that to get it like popping. It's like pre-recorded, so it's like
Yeah, and a lot of those things are more like moments for that person's fan base, like that platform itself.
Yeah.
It like you said, gatekeeping is necessary in that aspect where like why is everybody on that thing?
Yeah.
You know, I do question that, but at the same time, what are their intentions? What are their goals as a platform?
I do find it kind of interesting the amount of variety that they bring in though. Like like you can see somebody like Ghostface one day and then the next day you're gonna see somebody like Nems. The day or like you might
and like
that like the idea of like bringing somebody who's huge and like that, and then you're gonna have some indie artist who nobody's heard of the next day, and it's like the fact that they're all sharing the same space, maybe not to the same degree, but the fact that they're in front of the same screen, I think is really cool.
It is,
and it's kind of giving.
It's given that like XXL magazine kind of thing where like you would group all these like you would have all these mainstream acts.
Yeah.
But then when you look into the magazine, they're also introducing you to like Blue in Exile, for example, or something like that. You know what I mean? And then like I there's things to appreciate about that platform and many platforms like it. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, you have to kind of like set the bar high, like for the most part too. I mean, Toronto as well too. Like it could improve as well too, and like I think it's gonna be like the shared same story that I think everyone's gonna talk about, and there should be change like either way too. And I think I'll kind of like end it from there and all that. So
yeah, it's like there's just gotta be some balance, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. Yeah.
I don't want to ask like the next question too because I think it is like kind of obvious that like shared sentiments is gonna like drop soon. So like definitely put that for the playlist like for people to like recommend to, and like I mean the whole catalog as well too. So with all these like other like releases that you have like going on right now, anything else that's like coming up soon like in terms of like any other like ventures, projects, so forth?
So I haven't really started like into the planning of things. But I'm thinking about doing a listening party for the Playmakers album. I'm also thinking about scratching the listening party idea and just doing an actual show with the homies. We'll decide, but like I want things to be curated around, you know, just more lifestyle kind of things. It's not just pull up, drink, listen to music, and do stupid shit. You know what I mean? It's like we want you to be a part of it. We want you to be in a community. We want you to know each other. We want you guys to see each other again and be like, yo, I met you at the thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's how we built, right? Going to these random spots and just being like, yo, man, what's good? And it's like, you know, and then boom, we're here. Yeah, so that's kind of what we want to emulate. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh man, where do I start? Where do I start, man? I mean, this is the main thing.
Yeah.
I have a little solo EP that I'm working on. It's just gotta get mixed. I'm gotta put out a lead single.
True.
PS2, as I mentioned earlier, I'm really, really excited about that. That's over a year now, I think. Yeah. Coming up on a year of work in the making and some of my best stuff to date, both on the rap side and the beat side. Matrix.
Yeah, we didn't talk about like the next Matrix project because there's not much to say yet because we haven't really.
It hasn't.
Because it's not May 1st.
Yeah.
It's not May 15th either. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Like the concept is we start May 1st and then we release the shit on May 31st. So there's that.
But everybody's 1 year stronger in their rapping, in their producing, and obviously we're gonna bring in a few new cast members for show that I'm really excited to introduce into kind of that ecosystem where I'm like, I need to bring y'all around so and so. Like this person would kill on a song with this person, but they haven't met yet. Let me facilitate that, like that type of thing.
Mhm.
Andy's working on a tape. Me and him have a couple songs together with some big Toronto people, so I'm not gonna say who. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how the next year is gonna play out.
It's gonna be fire.
Yeah, I've really over the course of the last couple of months, like especially, I fell back in love with rapping, and the production was already doing its thing, and now it's like I feel like a more complete, rounded artist that I didn't think I could be. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how the next year plays out.
Yeah, as far as like projects and collaborations go, I don't think I'm super collaborative outside of Pudge right now. But I'm talking to shout out Focus, who has just been in the same room kind of thing. We've written some stuff together, so we're gonna see like just explore that realm. I already told you about My Beautiful Ugly. And then, yeah, I am working on like a 4-track solo. I don't know what to call it yet. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Probably just going to drop that randomly out of nowhere kind of thing.
That's facts.
Yeah, just to have that feeling of like, here, boom, you know?
Okay, that's facts.
And then, yeah, it's like the bigger things for me right now are Playmakers, My Beautiful Ugly, Matrix Volume 2. And, Pudge has, I guess we've agreed that I'm gonna, can I say that? Executive produce the LP for
Yeah,
it?
he's gonna Rick Rubin it for sure.
Okay, for sure.
There's gonna be some oversight. There's gonna be some sample swapping.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some coaching for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, like the rapport that we've been able to develop on Playmakers is like, I need some of that. I need some of that for the solo for sure. Like it's still gonna be very me, and I'm gonna be exploring a lot of different sounds, but with some trusted oversight for sure.
Okay, that's
Same
facts.
thing with Ghost Town Records. Like those rooms are like very competitive between, if you're playing a beat in a room that RJ's in, and Jake and Celine and Heartbeat, shout out Cam, like that, bro. Like
It's like kind of like Warren.
yeah.
So
it's cliche, but like, steel sharp as steel. It's like we're just trying to.
Yeah.
I have to go crazy because otherwise I'm gonna get overshadowed by just the homies, let alone the world, the underground, the competitive field that is music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, it's like the blend of sensitivity I have and the ego is just like, I can't have people tell me, oh, you need to fix this, fix that. It's like, no, I know. You know what I mean? That's
just like knowing the right moment.
Gets me
Exactly,
angsty where I'm just like, telling the truth, but I know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know
it's
what
just
you
like,
mean, man.
but it's definitely a positive kind of thing where I'm getting constructive feedback that is very direct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't like people that just kind of beat around the bush or tell me like, one or two good things about my music or one or two bad things, right? It's like, know who you're talking to and know what you're talking about kind of thing, right? Because don't make me tell you about your opinion. Because then I'm the bad guy.
And we don't, and same thing with our creative process.
Yeah.
Like we never yes man each other. When we got notes, it's like, yo, this, even if it's like, yo, this flow, this pocket,
Yeah.
or even him with like, oh, you gotta switch this little piece of percussion around, or like this kind of sounds off beat. Or it's like you gotta hit before the one instead of on the one, like that type of thing. Like shared sentiments, people don't know this. The first take that I did of it was almost completely off beat because I tried to because like I just had too many words, and so I had to compress it down. I figured that
you also started right at the one after the hook, which was just like. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it sounds good though.
That left me, I think it's also learning how to get on drumless beats as well has helped me with my pocket, because like when there's no drums, you have to be the pocket.
Yeah.
And
pocket,
Shared Sentiments was one of my first experiences with that. And just even though it's my beat, like I still have to warm up to it. So yeah, just kind of balancing out the rap brain and the producer brain and kind of combining that.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys have any like closing remarks you'd like to say? Like if you want to like shout out your IGs and all that other type of stuff too?
My IG is Withlovefromdeji. Just click follow. I'm not on TikTok a lot, but it's there. What else? SoundCloud, it's there. I plan to do a little bit more with SoundCloud. Bandcamp.
Please.
Bandcamp. But yeah.
How about you, man?
Oh man. At Pudgegawd, so that's Pudgegawd. On Instagram, Threads, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. Pay me on Bandcamp. Pay me.
No, for real.
What else? I am on TikTok, but I need to actually use it. I'm a little camera shy. People know I'm a little camera shy, so I definitely need to get into the habit, especially when working on Playmakers and then my solo album. Follow my TikTok because I will be using it. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram is the main way to reach me, and I'm on, Spotify, Apple. I have stuff that I've produced. I have a playlist of stuff that I've produced. In conclusion, what a play.
On a play by Pudge,
Yeah.
Deji, and the man Josh, also known as Yashu himself. Gentlemen, it's dope having you on and
Yes,
all that.
sir.
Like even like having this like full on like conversation like either way too, and like it'll definitely be for the best and all that. I definitely wish like nothing but the best for this project, for
Appreciate
your
you.
solo careers and all that too, for your duo career as well too, and like
Mhm.
just like everything from the underground too. Like I think this was like definitely like needed either way, So
Thank you, man. Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
you,
We need
Momo.
platforms
Yeah.
like this to like, sit down and talk about it. Cause like,
yeah,
woo, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just rumbles in our head how much like the sound that we've we've crafted together is actually just such a representation of our relationship and our influences too, right? Because shout out to Buffalo hip hop in general. Like that is going to be the very like salute to that
Relation, yeah.
modern boom bap wave that they've
Yeah.
kind of cultivated.
exactly.
So we're just shouting out that and like Toronto and Buffalo having that kind of relationship. With
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the Bills played over here. A lot of people saw their
Yeah.
NFL game for the first time. Bautista played for the Bisons, I'm pretty sure, right?
I mean, every like guys who go through like rehab in AAA play on the Bison before they advance. Same thing with the minor leaguers.
Yeah.
And also during the pandemic, because they couldn't cross the border, they were playing. The Blue Jays were playing in Buffalo at Salem
See?
Field for 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, every day.
So
Yeah,
it's like-
such a cool relationship, and like
It's just across the bridge.
it's right
Like,
there.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Toronto,
It's right there.
Detroit as well too. Went to
Yeah,
Detroit,
Toronto,
so-
Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yo, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, with Love from Deji and Pudgegawd and all that too. You can check it out on all platforms mentioned earlier. Definitely check out the music too. The reason why I didn't say the free song recommendation, because you could like check out all their stuff like on Spotify
Yeah.
and Apple Music too, and like just stay tuned for their project and for the Shared Sentiment song. And that's going to
Straight.
be added to the playlist and for the song recommendations as well too. So we're just signing off right now.
Thank you.
Peace.
Please say love.
Yes, sir. What a play.